check with PDSRF to make sure the component code is met. Right? So the same way you characterize the foundation law, which is the bottom of the concrete field, that would be the first transfer to that level, right? So you still, you cannot do, obviously, you cannot go directly from there to there. You have to go from bottom up, right? So using another substitute profile and you go bottom up, so use the variable processing consistent with the first below that level, and then go through the process, right? And the mean profile, the mean motion is going to be the control motion for the SSI
at the bottom of that.
Now, there's another thing that I would like to put on the table, which is this is also our water physics. The control building has a similar situation in which the package is not as pronounced, as significant, but it still has a 3-meter chunk of concrete still under it. So this one has how much? 30 feet.
Yeah,
It's long, 40 feet.
So that's a lot. The control motion, the control building, not so
Control
much.
building,
But conceptually, it's a similar situation.
so control building is also sitting in rock. Okay? So that difference between bottom of foundation.
Right.
So
Right.
within the zone 3 rock, it's not.
It's not as certainly this one is.
Yeah, I understand your concern. We'll address that.
So you're not really concerned about control.
Well, we had a question, but they, yeah, if you can provide it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
so, yeah, we'll discuss when we come to that.
So you guys,
I would like to see the basic treatment of surface box.
I'm just doing a little.
I won't say to replay everything. You have to find something.
So this is third. Okay. We'll have the control building.
But you don't even kind of look like it. Actually,
Oh,
you
okay.
made
It's not
a
the
design
control
to
building.
better situation.
right.
Yeah.
I think this is help for this. I think this is positive.
Right, because it hasn't been positive so far.
I mean, for this case,
But you're thinking that you might actually have the lower improvement for the.
That's why the end result is different.
If people shape it to higher.
Yeah, I mean, this, we're
So good.
really worried about. Just provide it.
One question then, addressing this issue, would you like us to concentrate just on one soil profile and then, or we should look at the variation of profiles?
That's what your approach is.
Basically, I mean, without having the analysis, I mean, my feeling at this point, knowing the motion and knowing the standard design, that what we are going to get when we put those high frequency effects, because Montana DCD was, the ESBWR DCD was done for envelope of high and low frequency motion. But most probably will, in terms of final results, will be more beneficial. And we may even don't have exceedances we observe right now when we do that.
Right now, you don't have only exceedances in the portion of the volume, the per water system.
I'm not worried about the structure. I'm mostly worried about the structure response vector. The structure.
I think if you the design basis, then you should, my interpretation of the envelope,
So you want the all three soil cases addressed?
Right. This is the design basis.
That's going to be their design basis.
Yeah, so, yeah, probably two to right. Because you only need to do the firewall.
But that's a separate question.
Very good one.
So if we can go to the next part of the solution.
everybody can be known.
We are.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I hope at the end of the meeting, let's summarize the action items.
The first one, I guess we got, action. I guess, okay, they got action.
Okay, yeah.
Actually,
Okay,
yeah, this one.
okay, let me just specific action.
So the next part of the question, I'm not sure if this is still a concern of yours, but was why SWSC and CB, even though they have very similar soil profiles, have very different fares. And the fare for FWSC has lower amplitudes and it's shifted towards lower frequencies. And the reason for that essentially is that these fares are calculated, as we pointed out, at very different elevations. One is calculated in rock, the other one is on top of 38 foot of soil. And the high frequency response gets shifted and damped out. Basically, there's significant softening in soil that happens. And that, in effect, makes for a smaller ratio between 10-5 and 10-4 UHRS for FWSC, and correspondingly much smaller design factor in high frequencies, which, as you pointed out, essentially makes the high frequency response lower. It shifts the spectrum lower. So that's the answer. Thank you. So for the next one, let me pass to my colleague Jim Maroney. Jim, are you on the call?
Yes, I am here,
Can we,
and as well is Nick Grigger.
you get, hold on one second, Jim. Okay, so, Jim Maroney. Do you want me to write it down for you, Perry?
I'll write it down and get details from you.
Okay. And Nick Greger from Beck. Thank you guys for getting up so early in the morning down the West Coast. So, thank you for being here.
Sure, no problem.
No problem.
All right, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, this RAI, draft RAI, indicates that the FSAR section 37115 describes the development of design ground motion time histories using option 1, approach 2 of the SRP 371 acceptance criteria, specifically 2.1.B.2 for all seismic category 1 structures and full and partial column cases. And the question goes on, because the adequacy of the time histories is important in establishing the structural seismic demands for the design, the staff requests that the applicant provide the following information regarding these time histories. Slide 42 summarizes those two elements, the numerical results of the spectral matching checks and PSD functions. So we'd like to get clarification on both of those, and I'll go through each part A and B. If you go to slide 43, and our initial response here is that there are several tables and figures presented in the FSAR, section 37115, and there are several graphical and numerical checks indicated regarding the 15 spectrally matched time histories. There are several tables as well that indicate some of those fitting parameters. So the basic question we have at this time is, what is it additionally that you need that you haven't already got as presented in the FSAR?
Basically, we're talking about number of points that exceed, points that are below, the SRP 271 spells out the criteria for these. There's the maximum size of the time step, such that you get a nice frequency that's consistent with your SSI. Is all of that information in the FSAR?
Okay, Nick, I'll ask you, the specifics such as you mentioned, the time increments the duration, points per decade, how many points above and below. I don't believe that those specific elements are tabulated there. We did meet all the criteria, but it sounds like you're asking for those specific numeric values. Is that correct?
So, not somebody else.
Nick, are you on mute?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm here. Yeah, so the short answer is no. The specific values, such as the number of points that are above, the number of points below, the number of consecutive points, those specific details I don't believe are in the FSAR, but we can easily put that together as part of our response to the RAI. We just wanted to get clarification if there's any additional things besides items A through D in the SRP for the matching criteria that you were looking for. And we want to make sure that there wasn't anything in addition to those items that are in A through D in the matching criteria.
No, it's just SRP, option 1, approach 2 is items A through D, which are very detailed, very specific, number of points, number of frequency points that you use with respect to 100, stuff like that. It's just documentation, because from everything we've seen that.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can put that together as part of our response then.
Right. Okay, thank you, Nick, for that input. On slide 44, this is with regard to Part B that asks for providing the power spectral density functions of the time histories and discuss whether any significant dips in the PSDs could be associated with gaps in frequency content. As we've indicated here anyway, and this is why we needed clarification, is that as shown in the various figures of the 15 time histories, the spectra of those time histories, they did not exceed more than 30% at any frequency range of the target. And the option 1, approach 2 in the SRP indicates the power spectrum density functions are not required, as in that acceptance criterion 2.1b to Part D. So could we get a clarification of what you are requesting?
So, SRP 371, there is supervision.
So, no. But it was a draft revision for the issue for public comments last year. 373 was all published, revision for was all published in September, right? Except 371.
Right.
Actually, some public comments identifying some issues. Numbers in the appendices.
Oh, right.
The power spectrum. And I believe the draft SRP 371 acceptance criteria with respect to option 1 approach 2 remove the part that asks for PSD check, the nuclear check with the target if your computing response spectrum is less than 30% of target. Otherwise, you need to check the draft criteria is regardless, you need to check to make sure you don't have energy gap
So are you asking us to comply with an SRP that's not issued yet?
We're not, SRP is without requirement.
Yeah.
Okay, whether you comply or not is not our business. But when staff review your application, okay? We use certain standards.
Right.
We look at the time history, we do check whether if the input is adequate. Okay. One way we check is adequacy. If you don't want to provide, then we're going to compute ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay?
I hear you.
Same thing with the back charge you.
Right.
Okay? And it
Right.
will take a longer time.
Yeah, no, I think Becca would be cheaper than you guys.
I mean, if we want to continue this line of dialogue.
No, we don't. But we're just trying, I mean, because we were paying very close attention to what was happening with the SRPs because we were right on the cusp, right? And so we
would like, we all get, line on the same
Right.
level of guidance to ensure the same, high quality for the analysis of the application, right? So, as I said, this is not a requirement, so you don't have to comply with this. You do whatever you want, right? But the staff that do use certain standards, guidance to guide all of you, and we want to make sure, we do our due diligence, right? We're responsible for the public.
Sure.
The public has a right to understand all the stuff.
Of course.
So, if you don't want to check, we'll check. So it doesn't matter, you just give us an idea of it. If you check and give us the power spectrum, give us rationale, and it will save us all the time.
No, I guess, like Nick and Jim were saying on the phone, we were using the existing SRP and we didn't see the guidance in there, so.
But the draft was also probably come from more than a few.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you all, that's what was aware of.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know it's common, yeah, it's still on the web.
Oh, right. We're just trying to keep up with you all. Okay, so Jim and Nick, you understand what the reviewers are asking for, and we can do this, right?
Well, could you repeat that, because it's very difficult for us to hear the specifics?
I'm sorry. Basically, what Jim said was that they are using the draft rate guide for 371 that's out that hasn't been issued yet, and this and now this exclusion or this waiver to not have to do the power density checks at if you're not exceeding 30%. Has gone away. You've got to do it all the time now, or we will when the new SRP is actually issued. So they're asking if we would do this as part of our response to this question. And I said, well, Jim, of course, Jim and Nick would be happy to.
Sure.
Sure.
Gina, this is Mark Loeffler. You mentioned draft reg guide. Is there a number yet for that, or is it a new reg, or are you talking SRP draft?
No, it's that draft SRP 371, Mark, that hasn't come out yet.
Gotcha.
I mean, the draft is out, but it hasn't been issued like the others were. So we just need to take a look at that. Was there anything else? I guess it would have been a reg or an REI. Yes, Glenn.
I would like to ask, just in case, in this new SRP we also have this provision. Did you do this check of consistency between acceleration, velocity, and displacement? Basically, it's a question to me. My question is, okay, I can rephrase it. If I take your acceleration and integrate it myself, it will not be shift or baseline or whatever.
So, Vladimir, I think if I understand your question, what you're asking is, do we calculate not just the acceleration time history, but as well the velocity and displacements? And yes, we do. And we do a baseline correction in our spectral matching process such that we don't get an offset or a static offset in the displacement time history. So we do that as part of our methodology.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can continue the discussion later because there is different ways of.
Okay.
Gina or group, can I, a general question? We've been talking about this draft SRP now, and as it's been mentioned, it's been out for public comment for a year. Is there any idea when it might be posted as sort of a final and incorporate all the public comments that have been taken, or is it still sort of out there being commented on?
We may want to issue the 371 for public comment again in the next 2-3 months. But with a limited scope, only on the appendix.
Did you hear that, Nick?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a goal for when you'd actually issue it then?
I think it depends on the extent of the public comment.
Yeah.
That
Hard.
will address, yeah, because which will change quite significantly one of the entities.
Oh,
At the moment, we'll have a different approach to develop PSC research.
Okay. Thanks.
So that depends on the feedback from the public, with the initial ways
but right now, if you're changing what you have in one of those appendices about how the PSD is calculated, that's, we're not going to have to change what we're
you don't
doing,
need to
right?
calculate the target PSC.
Okay.
Right, the only people who compute PSC from the time history generated, and we could receive the PSC that's most current, right?
Okay.
If the PSC has a big inflection in 2050.
Okay. All right, and then another question Patricia brought up is a good one. Are you all looking for us to put this information in the FSAR, or is it not just in an REI response? Okay. Nick and Jim, did you hear that they want the curve to be in the FSAR, not just in an REI response? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and just for clarification, we've been talking about the PSD of the time histories themselves. I assume that we do not want to implement the appendix that has the target. Is that correct?
Jim said that's correct. That's Jim. That's correct, right? We don't have to do the target.
No, that's correct.
You're correct, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Maybe to see that there's no abrupt dip somewhere doesn't disappear.
They don't want any dips, you guys.
Yeah.
No dipping site, right, Flash? We do not have a dipping site. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready to go on?
All right.
So, okay, 11:10. Do you want to take a short break, Perry?
Maybe good.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, so that was Jim and Nick, right? They can go now if they'd like, right? We have, no, I think we have one or two.
One question more, right?
Okay, so we'll just do this one. Okay. Stress criteria, who's doing this one? Are you back with us, Peter?
Basically, this question, as we understand, is to provide stress criteria used in determining acceptability for SSC dumping values in site-specific SSI analysis. So that stress criteria is documented right now in SF section 3.7.2.4.1.4, and it's related only to reinforced concrete members. We use SSC dumping in conjunction with reduced crack stiffness properties. For all other members, we use OB dumping. So all the steel structures or the equipment is based on OB dumping. Now, this information that is requested is one part of the quite large question we got on section 3.7.2E. So, I mean, we were asking, can we integrate this question with that?
So do you think that perhaps you can delete this question and, I mean, actually, just make it all part of one? That's what we were asking.
Actually, 3.72, yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
let's just go for that. Because right now, REI is still draft.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Correct.
One comment, because this question, the reason why it shows up in 371 is because you have these statements in 371. So I guess resolution of this other REI, you could also go back to 371 and
Sure. Clean it up.
clarify something there.
Okay. Very good. We can go with 373, it's one question only.
Well, can I just say, Jim and Nick, if you guys want to hang up and go to San Francisco, where I hope it's a lovely day, that's good.
Thanks, Gina. Actually, we're actually in the city, so
Oh,
we
good.
appreciate it.
All right, well, it's beautiful here today, too. So thank you guys for joining us and for your help, and we'll follow up with you all probably early next week, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
On 73, basically the question is related of how, I mean, it's a requirement, a request to describe in the ESA how the seismic input motion will be developed for a buried structure, described in ESA. And those are like seismic category 1 and 2 structure, roadways, tunnels, safety class, RV, roadways, piping, and so on. And provide site-specific ITEC suggest verification of the process. Basically commit to revise the ESA to describe the process of developing the seismic input motion. And the clarification is, we request clarification for the scope of this site-specific ITEC.
What we're looking for there is how you do all this. Very different there and for verification. Unless you do it right now, so we're looking at
A verification.
Yeah, I think with the design, I is when you finish constructing the structure, make sure you check the constructed structure consistent with the design. That's IPAC stuff.
Right.
So, you know, if you don't have IPAC, then you need to provide IPAC to make sure the construction is consistent. You have to go through that process, and that's part of the regulatory process.
I guess that's where it got,
Can make the walls reach fine.
right,
All the time I have to be graded
right.
to verify that I've constructed
As designed. Right. Well, and that's where it got a little confusing, Does, because, or at least to me, and other people may have some more questions too, but it was, you know, you're talking about what's the process that we're going to use to design these structures and do this analysis, right? But, and so.
So after section 13 covers certain buried structures, right?
Yeah.
And then it lists the after the CE, right? Those require site-specific seismic input. Or
Yeah.
it requires a seismic input. With CE, it tells you that you can use the rest with some factors.
Okay.
Of course, at your site, you can't really do that. So you're incorporating that DCD section by reference. So right now, when at your site, when you design those structures to us, it means that you're taking input amplified by a certain factor, which is in the DCD. That defines your
I see.
buried structure.
As opposed to
as opposed to developing a site-specific